Hey there, it's Michael. Welcome to Whole Again, the show that's here in support of you creating a meaningful life and the person you're becoming. And I'm excited to share a new series with you that will air this summer as America turns 250 years old, which is still pretty young relative to many other countries across this big blue marble that we all share. The series is called A Perfectly Imperfect Union. In 2022, I rode my bike across America, from Astoria, Oregon to the Lincoln Memorial. My wife drove our RV, and she had two co-pilots, Jester and Hope, two Springer Spaniels. And when we did it, America was coming out of the pandemic, and we were hurting from things that had happened prior to the pandemic. Of course, going through what we all went through. And at that time, and this is something I still believe today, is that we were entering an inflection point. An inflection point for us to hopefully pause, breathe, and reflect on who we wish to become as individuals, as communities, and as a country. As I pedaled across America, I wanted to share America's beauty with others, her natural beauty and the beauty of her people. And I also wanted to share where we were hurting. As America turns 250, I believe Kinstugi, which is something we use as a metaphor here at Whole Again, is a perfect metaphor for where we are as a country. There's so much beauty to celebrate, and we can also acknowledge that parts of us feel broken or are broken, but we can find a way to come back together, just like Kinstugi teaches us. And when we do, we don't try to erase or cover up where we have scars or blemishes. We highlight them in gold, and we celebrate them as symbols of our strength and resilience. Kinstugi is called the golden repair, and in essence, we can see beauty in something that's perfectly imperfect. During this series, I plan to speak to at least 2 people in each state and the District of Columbia. So 102 conversations with real folk, as I like to say. We're going to let the celebrities and the big influencers have their day somewhere else. But here, I want to reach out and talk to real people and listen to their reflections as they think about America turning 250 years old. And my hope is that you'll tune in to at least one, if not all 102. Because my theory going into this is that you'll hear different perspectives. Some may be aligned with yours. Others may not. But my hope is that you hear the goodness in your fellow citizens and realize, as Maya Angelou shared with us, we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. I've had the privilege of traveling all over the world and all over this country. And this belief is something that I hold deep inside of me. So yes, I do believe that we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. So if you're ready to get to know one of your fellow neighbors, take a healthy breath in and a slow releasing breath out, and get to know Michelle Radney. Well, hey there, Michelle. Thanks for joining me on this little series I'm calling A Perfectly Imperfect Union. How are you?
I'm great, and thank you for the invitation. I'm excited to have a conversation.
I can't wait to get into this with you. So, for those that don't know, Michelle and I go way back. We've known each other for many years. We met in middle school, but really it's not middle school. It was actually in our corporate
Yes.
lives. So, for those that don't know you, Michelle, take a moment to introduce yourself and where are you coming from? Which state do you want to represent today?
Okay, well, thank you again for the invitation, and hello to everyone who is watching and or listening. My name is Michelle Radney. I currently am living in the beautiful state of New Jersey. As you said, Michael, New Jersey gets a bad rap sometimes, but I am originally from Phoenix, Arizona. And so I've only been in New Jersey for about 10, 12 years. I think my math could be a little bit off. But I am excited for the conversation. I am currently also a new to the podcasting world podcast host. And so this is exciting to join you and have a conversation.
Yeah, it's a really good turn of chairs, if you will. For those that don't know, I was on Michelle's podcast when she first introduced it. It's awesome. Michelle's seat at the table, so you got to check it out.
Thank you.
So Arizona, so we're going to say you represent the great state of Arizona, not the great state of New Jersey. So in this country, it's a big country and not everyone's gone to every state.
Yeah.
Some might know Arizona for the Grand Canyon, but if you've never been to Arizona, what is something special about it that maybe people don't know about?
Well, things that I think are special are certainly the landscape, as you mentioned, the Grand Canyon. But one of the things that I think most people do realize is that it's certainly a warm state, a sunny state. But in a little bit of research, one of the things that I realized is that it is recognized as the most sunny state. And in fact, 299 sunny days per year. And given that we're both in New Jersey and the sun, while is out today, it has been a really crappy couple of weeks and a terrible winter. And so I've been yearning for the sun, and that's why I'm thinking about the Sunshine Valley of Arizona.
Well, that's actually a good fun fact because the people I've spoken to from Colorado have claimed that they're the sunniest state. So I love the fact that there's a little controversy brewing here in the union.
I've got the statistics.
You got the data, you got the facts. And the other fact I'll share with you, the weather will change as weather does. And it will once again get cloudy as we near the afternoon here in our beautiful state of New Jersey. So after we get done talking, get outside, soak up the vitamin D.
I'm going to.
So now I want to place you in Arizona. Let's say it's nighttime. There's a fire pit. You got your family, you got your friends, some colleagues, some strangers.
Sounds wonderful.
And you're just soaking in the Arizona night. And someone asks you, "Hey, Michelle, what does America mean to you?" How do you respond?
Sitting by the fire is actually a really great example of having this conversation. I was sitting by a fire with my husband just a few days ago. And while we weren't talking about America, but what I would say for my response would be it's opportunity. And so growing up in Arizona, Phoenix specifically, I didn't grow up from or with a family with a lot of means, a lot of money. I was the first person in my family to go to college. And so what that represents for me is a lot of opportunity. Being an American and knowing just globally what it means, education for not just women, but people of color. And in the United States, that's one of the things that comes to mind for me, opportunity.
Yeah, that's come up in a lot of conversations, just the opportunity to be who you wish to be and advance and create a bigger ripple effect and all that jazz.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, each of us have, I think there's 330 million of us in this country, but we all probably have our own definition of what what America can become, like the ideal version of America. So when you think about your ideal version of America and where we are right now, where do you see tensions or contributing factors, if you will, that creates the gap between where we are right now and who, I guess, who American can be? Who can she be?
I think one of the biggest factors, or where there's the most tension right now, is trust. There's a lack of trust between one another. There's a lack of trust with our government, lack of trust with institutions in this country. Even when you think about America and other countries, trust is at an all-time low. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But if there was one major tension that I would identify, that would be it.
Yeah, and I love how you called that out, because I think with AI coming, and we're not going to get into a big AI debate if it's going to eat us and destroy us, or is it going to liberate us? But I think right now, as people view content, mainly through social media, through the internet, it's getting harder and harder to understand, like, what's real
Yeah.
and what is AI generated, because the AI generated images and videos and such are getting better and better. And if we're going as fast as we're going, it's hard to tell, like, what's real and what's not. It's like really nuts.
Well, it's not just the imaging, but how people use AI to express their feelings or emotions, or having it generated instead of being authentic. And so that goes back to the trust, because there's a lack of authenticity. What I tell my daughters, who are now almost adult, well, they're adults, but as they were growing up, is that
Yeah.
it's hard for me to admit that.
It's hard. I think even for me, my
It's
girls are a
hard.
little bit older. As you know, my girls
Yes.
are a little bit older than yours. It's still hard to be like,
It's like they're my
like,
babies.
yes, exactly. Yes.
But I would tell them, what you see, a lot of what you see on the internet is not real, and it's what people want you to see. And so don't try to judge yourself or your situation based on what someone else is showing or what someone else has, because many times it's not real. And many times the people or the images that they see don't create happiness.
No, there's not a lot of happiness or joy as we scroll through. Hey, the engineers that have come up with the algorithm, they know what gets our attention. They know human biology and the fact that we're
Yeah.
hardwired to pay attention to threats more so than goodness. And so there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of comparison,
Mm-hmm.
and almost like you're simply just not enough if you don't have what someone's selling. And it's a hard way of going through life if we feel like we're always a step behind and we can never
Yeah.
really catch up. But they know that we have a desire to, like, try to catch up
Because we want
and
to
try
see
to
it,
chase try
compare.
to chase the cheese, and the cheese keeps on moving.
Yes, it does. I'm trying not to chase it.
Yes. Who moved my cheese? All right. So if you could repair in our Kinstugi metaphor, if you can fix something, maybe not perfectly, but meaningfully, what would you begin to work on? So you mentioned trust as a factor in our gap, if you will, from where we are now and our potential. Is trust something that you would try to, like, address, or is there something else that, if you had a magic wand, you would want to address to help us step further into that great ideal of ours?
Yes, trust. And I think with trust is also love, not enough love,
Ah,
but in a bit more of a serious tone. One of the things that I would work to repair, and I do my small part, is actually hunger. And I know that sounds like a Miss America kind of response, but from someone who, grew up in an environment where, yes, there was food, but I knew people who didn't have food. And as our economy continues to evolve, and I live in a a middle-class neighborhood, but there is a food pantry where I live, and there are more people in neighborhoods that I wouldn't necessarily suspect that are looking and need assistance and need food. And so when you look at the children that go to bed without food, there are a lot of them. And depending upon where you are, you don't see many of them. But it is a serious problem and challenge, not just in the world, but specifically in America.
Amen to that. And in the richest country on the planet, we shouldn't have hunger.
No.
And you think about the people that don't have enough food, and quite frankly, the food that goes in the trash. You and I both have shared, as I mentioned up front, a corporate life together.
Yeah.
And it would kill me. It would drive me bonkers. The amount of food each day that we would throw away. People bring in lunch for a meeting or breakfast or a snack or whatever. So much food.
Yeah.
And it all goes to the landfill. It's just crazy. So you have this overabundance of food in some parts of our society, and then some people are just looking for scraps. And in the richest country in the world, I'm with you. I don't think that's something that we can definitely work on fixing.
We definitely can. And it's the small things. Like, for example, when we're checking out at the store, any market, like there are often times they'll ask you if you want to round up or do you want to donate $1. I always do. And recently, my 20-year-old who's in college, she said that she does this because she saw me when we were at the stores. And so she always rounds up and she always, will donate $1. And she calls it, I'm being a good Samaritan, but this is what she's realized. And the other thing for your listeners that's very easy, when you're going out and you're enjoying a meal with your friends and your loved ones, many times I will take food to go. And depending upon what city I'm in, if I'm walking or if I'm going to a hotel, I will always take food to go. And there's generally someone, unfortunately, on the street, and I will just put my to-go food, my leftover food, next to someone. I don't ask them any questions. I don't bother them. If they're asleep, I don't wake them up. I just put the food down. And so someone will appreciate the food that we have, that we're not going to finish and that they need.
I like that idea. I've done that in the past as well. So for everyone going out for a corporate dinner tonight,
yes,
let the boss pick up the bill. Let the company pick up the bill. Get it boxed up and give it to someone in need. So all this talk about food brings me to our next question. With America turning 250 years old, big birthday party. At birthday parties, we have a cake. We also make a birthday wish. So this is a two-part question. What kind of cake, Michelle, are you serving at America's 250th birthday?
I love cake. So I have to give a bit of a longer answer because I love cake. It is my favorite dessert to have with a glass of wine. And in fact, my wedding cake 25 years ago was actually a cupcake wedding cake before it was a craze.
Oh, nice.
So that people could have different flavors of cakes.
You're a trendsetter.
I was.
Not bad.
25 years
Look
ago.
at that.
And we had 7 different flavors, but I'm going to give you my top 2.
All right.
Red velvet and lemon. Those are my 2 favorites.
Okay.
And I make lemon cake.
That's very cool. Someone's already mentioned red velvet, so we got 2 votes for red velvet so far in this series.
Yes.
And the first reference to lemon cake. That's
really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Some people have overthought this question. They're like, "What, you mean figuratively?" And I'm like, no, literally. What kind of cake are we eating?
Cake.
Just cake. All right. So as we're blowing out the birthday candles, 250 candles. So this is going to take one major big breath. This is going to take a while. So what's the wish you would wish for America?
I'm going to take my breath, blow out the candles. I wish for love and trust and forgiveness.
Yeah, forgiveness is a big one, right? So
I slipped that in. I'm not
Yeah.
answering just one. I have more than
no,
one.
that's okay. Well, like, as I
one word
mentioned, there are
answer.
a lot of candles. So, hey, love and trust, but yeah, forgiveness. There's a lot's been said and done over the years,
Yeah.
and until we find a way to forgive ourselves, to forgive each other, it's really hard to move forward because we
Mhm.
just bring all that stuff with us, and we keep on re-adjudicating, refighting, rehashing it out, whatever verb you want to choose. So I love the fact that you've woven in a little forgiveness. I think that's good. Good for the country, good for the soul.
Yeah.
So last conversation I had, I spoke with Brian from California. And so what I've been doing is asking the person I chatted with before we're chatting to come up with a question that he would like to ask you. It's a way of connecting all our fellow neighbors to one another. So Brian wants to know, Michelle, what is something you're proud of about yourself, but you rarely or never get recognized for it?
Well, tell Brian. Well, I can tell you, Brian, that's a really good question. It's kind of a hard question,
It is a
but
hard
it
question, yes.
is. So, the thing that I am most proud about that I rarely get recognized for, and it's also because it's something that I keep to myself and most people don't know about me. So, that's the reason. And it goes back to one of your questions earlier. And when I think about this country and I think about the word opportunity. So I'm proud that I have made it in my life and the happiness and the relationships and the satisfaction and even the success that I've had. It's not about how much money I make, but it's about the foundation that I have had and that I've built. And so being someone who, like I mentioned, I was the first person in my family to go to college. And I told this story recently, publicly, for the first time, that my family didn't have the money to pay for my college application. One of my really good friends from high school, her parents paid a $40 college application for me. I applied to one school. That was Arizona State. I got into the school because someone else helped and gave me an opportunity. And so for me, that's the one thing that I'm very, very proud of because I knew getting an education, getting a college degree, which quite frankly, in the world we're in now and the market we're in now, it went a long way 30 years ago, but boy, today in our environment, it's very different. I don't tell that story very often because most of the people I meet know me today and the person I am today, but it's something that I'm very proud of, and I give that example to my children, and to let them know that the world that they see and the life that they live today is not common, and they're so fortunate and so blessed, and so to not take that for granted.
Thanks for sharing that, Michelle.
Yeah,
That's a great ripple effect.
thank you.
Like the person that paid your application fee and the person that helped you get in, and look at you now, like continuing their little ripple that they created in you, and now you get to
Yeah,
do so for your daughters, but the people that you come in contact with in your community and corporately. And so, yeah,
yeah,
thanks for sharing.
changed my life.
Absolutely, it did. Yeah, that's so. That's what happens when we I'm not sure get about you, to but that question Brian has connect with served each up other. for So Michelle is we a can tough change
Mm.
people's
I
lives
know because he
and
asked
create a
me to
positive
answer
ripple
it, and
effect.
I'm not totally
So
crazy with
next, I
my
get to talk to
initial
Cora
response, and hey, that
from
happens.
Alabama. So
It is true that
as Brian asked you a
I
question, you
often
get
don't
to
get the
ask
credit I think I deserve
Cora
for
a
being a good
question.
listener.
So what
I think it's one
question
of the
do
key
you have for Cora?
qualities of my coaching
Okay, this
practice.
hopefully will be an
So if
easy
I
one for
could ask
Cora. I
Brian
don't
for a
know
favor,
Cora.
I would ask for a little
However,
bit more
my
time
question
to
is,
come up
what
with
are you
a
currently
different
binge
response. But
watching?
I do love his
All
question
right.
because it gets to
Very
a big
cool. I
wish
will
that
ask her that
all of us
in a
have.
few hours when we sit
To be
down
heard,
to record.
to be seen,
I can't wait to
and to be
hear
valued.
when this comes out because I'm interested. And I asked this question on my podcast, and I've gotten so many good, fun responses that my list of shows has increased
Well,
in my free
and
time.
more time to stream, right? So it'll be interesting too, like what she says now, and then when her episode comes out, like, is that show still popular? I imagine it will be, but so we shall see. Well, Michelle, thank you very much for joining me on a perfectly imperfect union, and I hope the rest of your day unfolds with ease and grace.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed getting to know one of your fellow neighbors, Michelle Radney from Arizona, and I hope you'll check out her podcast, Michelle's Seat at the Table. And I love her wish. Love, trust, which we desperately need, and forgiveness, which is something I've done other episodes here on Whole Again about because I had to really get to that place of forgiveness through my healing process. And I'll put a link or two to those episodes in the show notes. Of course, I think we all know that if we really want to come together, it will take more than just wishing. It will take action. And maybe that action starts with a conversation that allows us to be fully seen, heard, and appreciated, or I would say loved. One human to another, even if we don't see the world the same way. I believe that 97% of people are good. There's a like-heartedness in that goodness. And if we lead with our heart, we can be open to different mindedness. That's how we can come together and form a more perfectly imperfect union. If today's conversation resonated with you, I hope you'll share it with someone you know. And if either you or someone you know would like to join me for a conversation, please reach out. And until our next episode in our Perfectly Imperfect Union series, let's remember to celebrate our scars as golden symbols of our strength and resilience. Happy birthday, America. And don't forget to have fun storming the castle. And if you wish to learn more about creating beautiful ripples and how to prevent a bad moment from turning into a bad day, please visit my website, michaelobrienshift.com, and sign up for my newsletter called The Ripple Effect. And join us each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here at Whole Again and discover how you can heal, grow, and become more resilient. And celebrate our scars as golden symbols of strength and resilience. Until then, remember, you can always come back to your breath. You've got this, and we've got you.